Alors, il a fait un son pour Mobile Production.
Arrangé Eric Glodé, le don de Dieu pour la musique de l'Ouest. Je te détesterai jamais, 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 au grand jamais. Mobile Production, Abia Diaoboa, Amunyadro, Mweto Pierre. Moye, Pierre, Moye, Moye, Pierre, Moye, Ato Pierre Diawele, Pierre, Moye, Ah, Pierre, Ndato Pierre, Sopranoside, Ato Pierre Diawele, Amosiao, Moye, Pierre, Moye, Mosabo Saiko, Moye, Pierre Dimawere, Manoye Mo, Ah, Pierre Dimawere, Manoye Mo, Pierre, Ah, Diawere, Pierre, Moye, Pierre, Moye, Pierre, Moye, Robero Diawere, Lopoje Diawere, Soino Juniemble, Mobli Amado, let's appeler, Jamone Chipayone, Mawaja Chipayone, Dia, Plebone Nakanyopo, Siavutiena, de Kanywe, Kanyon de Koga, Sepradea, Piero Moye, Piero Moye, Piero Moye, Mogiarwa, Oyawesa, Moye, Jiblo, no Pigeon Boba, Yeruno, Maboye, Piero, Piero Moye, Mobile Production. Pierre Mobile Production. À ça au clan. Y'a un gars l'homme au côté. Pierre Moye.
Let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Lord, help me let it go. Help me let it go. Yeah, let it go. Yeah, let it go. Help me let it go. Master Jesus, let it go. Yeah, help me let it go. Go, 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 go. Go, let it go. I'm tired, let it go. Give your heart to Jesus, let him take control. Just say to worship. I know it hurts you, and I know it's painful. No way to wait, so you have to let it go. Your best friend is not your secret anyways. Let it go. Your wife is getting married to another man. Your husband fall in love with another woman. Don't let it bother you. I say let it go. If someone overlook you because you live in zero, if they insult you because you don't have nobody, if they say you will continue to be a zogo, if they say you will continue to be a prostitute, if they say you will continue to be a beggar, you will not marry, you will not build your own children. If they say your need is borrow, some go to meeting, mommy.
All right, good afternoon, good morning here from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. It's 10:22 Eastern Standard Time right here. I'm Afonso Zienso. We will be taking you in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. So we're going to be talking to one of our own, but we have come to a tentative of agreement. There's not going to be a friendly question here this evening. He's one of those that put this institution together. That's the Liberia Public Radio and now serving his country. Professor Asese Zawolo is the superintendent of the Morovia Consolidated School System. Now, serving his contract, and he will be in his first prime time interview right here on the Liberia Public Radio. I want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for joining us here. And we will get the conversation going. The professor is standing by right now in Liberia. If you are following us, please share this pack here. Share this with us, and let's have a conversation of substance for the good of the country. I am Alfonso Z, and so stay tuned. Let's get the ball rolling. Okay, welcome. The time is already a little bit behind time, but notwithstanding, our guest is standing by. Let me go inside Liberia. I was right there a couple of weeks ago. And let's see it. I took a tour. I was at my own alma mater, and that's the Wallen V.S. Tutman High School, of which he is the superintendent of that school system within the enclave of Moserado County and perhaps beyond that, but we're going to have this conversation. Let me bring in Professor Asese Zawolo, is the superintendent of the Monrovia Consolidated School System. Let's get a ball rolling. Let me bring in the professor here. Okay, here we go. Superintendent Professor Asese Zawolo. Professor, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. So, and thanks for having me on again.
Okay. All right. Now, this time in a different form, So I can see you pretty clear that you are already in the picture. And let's see what other photo there. Let's see. We want to get a sense of how it looks like to be in the photo or whatever picture in the library content. But Professor, Mr. Superintendent, thank you so much for making time for us to have this conversation. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing wonderful. Busy at the MCSS, working hard for the Liberian children, working hard for the Liberian government, working hard for Liberian people. But I'm excited to be here working on behalf of our people.
Okay. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping here. You're one of our own. You contributed to this network without us giving you down. It's the same way of giving back to the community. And your advocate all along is to restructure, to make the school system in Liberia effective, of which you were preaching or getting the message of the CDC-led government. How it feels to be in a position, I could be wrong, but this is a position that you really desire or being to help the school system in Liberia. How do you feel?
I think it's exciting to be back home and contributing, directly towards the improvement of education in Liberia. I think our body of work so far speaks volume for us, and it's just an honor. I think I'm enjoying every moment of it. Very blessed to be working with a talented group of professionals, be engaged with a band of bright, engaging and enterprising students, and very hardworking staff. So it's exciting to be part of this.
Is that where specifically you wanted to find yourself in, Professor? You knew you had an idea you're going to go within the MCSS bell?
So you like to always cause trouble, right? Well, yeah. Like I said to people, since 2018, there have been discussions centering around me coming to take over the MCSS. So it wasn't, totally a surprise. And for me, I'm a servant of the people. I am a member of the ruling party. The president, I serve my president, and he has to. I'm always ready to take on an assignment that he, deems fit for me to take on. So I'm honored that he selected me to be playing this role at this time.
Okay, let's get to the substance of the issue. Education. Prior to your appointment as superintendent, you went to Liberia, volunteered to mentor teachers, to prepare the young folks for WIAC and all of that. Now you are in the driving seat. What was the first potential challenge that you met on your desk? And if it is so, is it being cleaned out?
Well, I'll tell you this. Managing any school district is always going to be a challenge. So even accepting to take up the responsibility was a big challenge that I, accepted to take on, and it hasn't faded away. Every day every day I get up, I must be concerned about teachers in every classroom, students coming to school and ready to be there to learn. I must also focus on making sure that water is on every school campus. I must also make sure that electricity is we have electricity on the campuses that have already been connected to electrical grid or are using other sources of electricity. I also have to be concerned of forecasting, future planning, and making use of available data to run a data-driven system. So yes, I am really in the position to be able to impact, and that's what we have been doing. We have instituted a series of measures that I think I'm sure you have been following. I put the MCSA in a much better position than it was prior to my ascendancy to this office.
What is a much better position to be care to expand on that further? What is the
Well, let me tell you,
what was the position and where are we now considering when you took over?
that we took over on a 5-point strategic goal. The first and foremost of those strategic goal is academic excellence. In terms of academic excellence, we look at available data, and we thought that there was room for improvement of our students on the WIEC and the WASC exams. So we immediately, based on the data, instituted a system-wide examination for grade 5, 8th, and 11th. So we will administer the exam so that the system will be able to collect data on the level of preparation our students have for the exam when it counts. It counts when they take it at the 6th grade level, it counts when they take it at the 9th grade level, and it counts when they take it at the 12th grade level. So we are trying to collect data from 5th, that's before the 6th, from the 8th before the 9th, and then from the 11th before the 12th. And we'll use those data to inform on how we teach, how we instruct. What kind of trainings will our teacher need? What kind of additional instructional aids will our classroom need? And so those are some of the first decisions we make. I think that decision puts the MCSS in a far better position than it was prior to my ascendancy. The second thing we did was to restructure the supervisory arm of the MCSS. The MCSS had sometimes, it fluctuated from between 24 to 36 supervisors. So these are people who are supposed to be responsible to go into the fields and be looking at the schools and making sure the schools are running efficiently in terms of administrative aspect and also on the instructional aspect. But most of the work was focused on administrative aspect. Now, it will interest you to know that we have 24 schools.
That creates a vacuum.
It creates a vacuum. But besides that, it might be interesting to know we have 24 schools and we have 36 supervisors. So some of our supervisors were maybe almost doing nothing. So we will restructure the supervisory arm so that we now have cluster supervisors. We have 3 clusters. We have the Cinco cluster, we have the Central Morovia cluster, and we have the Bourgeois Island cluster. Each cluster is served by 2 supervisors, and then those are the administrative supervisor. They supervise compliance. They supervise the regulatory aspects. And then we have another team of supervisors who are content specialists. Those are content supervisor. So we have supervisor for mathematics, we have one for science, one for social studies, and one for English language arts, one for the electives, and one for early childhood education, and one for two for primary education. So now we are both supervising the instruction, and we are supervising the administrative compliance component. So we are doing the whole thing. We are dissolved, we have filled up the vacuum to make it better. So those 2 things alone put us in a much better state. Then we have done some other things. We have done some concrete things. The second thing on my 5-point strategic goal for the MCSS was of safe school environments. And so one of the things I've done, I have been able to complete the fencing or have put up a new fencing at 4 of our most vulnerable schools. The William V.S. Tubman High School, we completed the fencing at the back. The G.W. Gibson, we elevated the fence to prevent intruders from coming on campus. The Boswan Junior High School, we also elevated the fence. And at the Eggland School, we totally completely fenced in the property. So those are things we are doing. So those things, will serve in the aspect of, providing a safe, supportive school environment for our students. And then we talk about organization efficiency. So we've started to look at how the MCSS was run prior to our coming to office. So you have paper memo moving around. You did not have a functioning website. Social media presence were almost non-existent. We have completed the websites. We have different social media accounts, and now we have transitioned to develop. We have developed an in-house emailing system, something like an intranet. So we are now able to communicate with each other without getting outside, on the World Wide Web. So we've done now. I have an email that says superintendent at mcssliberia.org. Every member of central office here has an email that has the first initial, the last name, and at mcssliberia.org. So we begin to digitize this place. We've just recently completed a resource center at the central office, equipped with about 10 computers, which will be used for work, and also be used to train our central office staff to get them on par with technology. So those are some of the things that we've been doing.
Okay. Let's have a conversation here. Mr. Honorable Superintendent, you know the rule of the game right here on LPR. I want to welcome our own man, Mike Dan, is in studio in Morovia. Mike, welcome to this talking point. But yes, Mr. Superintendent, there seems to be a massive transformation. You from up here within the school system here, professor, all of that here. Now you have crossed over this thing here. And what I do know, we want good things to happen for the country, but people, they want to be selected to changes or what sort of change could be. Given all of these sort of massive changes, I guess in the interest of the school system and the educational system in the country, how is it received? And a backlash so far?
No. All I get is positives. All I get is positive. I'll tell you one thing. I will boast to say right now I've become extremely, very a recognizable face. People see me and say, "Oh, are you the superintendent of MCSS?" I say, "Oh, yes, I am. I'm the proud superintendent of MCSS." So thank you. You're doing a good job. Keep it up. If there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. That's the message I get from people on the street. And yesterday, was it? No, it was yesterday. Yesterday, I had a very interesting meeting. A day before yesterday, I had a meeting. I had a meeting with the parents of the MCSS, the Parent Teacher Association of the MCSS, and I got a vote of confidence and a pledge from the PTA to work with me in fulfilling all of my plans and dreams of the MCSS. So all I received so far have been positive and positive. Obviously you're going to have some of the people who will criticize, and some of the criticism that have come, we've taken it in good strides, and some of them have come, we know, with no good intention, and we treated them just like that. They have no good intention, and so we continue to do something every day. Wake up every morning, get up, prepared, and ready to fight for Liberian children, to make sure there's a teacher in the classroom at every MCSS school. Make sure there's a principal at the gate with a smiling face ready to receive the students. Make sure there's water for the campuses. That's what we do every day, and we'll continue to do that, no matter what the distractors will do.
I was talking to during my visits. I passed through and talked to other folks. I too came from in the MCSS, and I was told by some folks there's a massive cleaning up campaign. People too have been very unfair to national government. The point in time with the private institution, and they see these government institutions are like a website, and they are on for salary. I have some document, but let me just authenticate this information here. My understanding, you are carrying on a massive cleaning up. Those who are supposed to be in the classroom, they should make sure they are there in time for which they are being paid for. How true is the information?
But the information is accurate. Look, the Ministry of Education requires teachers to spend between 20 to 25 hours in the classroom on the school campus, and we are making sure that we uphold that to the letter. So what we inherited has been bizarre. We inherited a situation where some teachers were teaching 5 periods a whole week. So that person could come to school for
5 periods a whole week.
5 periods a whole week. Could come to school for one day and then don't have to come the rest of the days. We inherited a situation where people were doing 6, 8, 10, 12. We begin to right size the teaching staff, and so we've been able to fill up empty classrooms. We've been able to identify positions to bring new teachers, to bring teachers who are volunteering on the payroll, and so our exercise have been very meaningful. In fact, in the process, the good thing about it is that in the process, some people have been promoted because we identified some people
on the basis of
they were highly qualified people, but they were under teaching. And once we identified that they were under teaching, we decided to increase the load. But then in that process, we recognized they were very highly qualified and they could be using other capacities. So we promoted them. There was one person who was teaching religious and moral education at a high school who do not offer religious and moral education at the high school level. And so it wasn't supposed to be in the first place. So we closed the class down and we told the person to report to the central office. And in the period of discovery, we were able to realize that this person had a master's of education degree. And we needed a vice principal at another school. And so we immediately promoted him to an acting vice principal. So the exercise is a win-win for everybody, win-win for the students, win-win for the teachers who really want to teach. The only people who are going to not be winning will be the ones who do not want to teach. And for those people, I've made it very clear. I will do everything possible to make sure that they are out of the classrooms.
I'm told you spend less of your time in the office going to MCSS institutions looking for what?
Making sure that teachers are in the classroom teaching, make sure the classrooms are clean, make sure the school facilities are decent enough for children to learn, making sure that we are doing what we told our parents that we're going to do. Look, I want every parent in Monrovia to send their children to MCSS schools.
Why?
But because I want to save them from spending money on the private schools. Because I know that we have better schools, we have better qualified teachers, and we have the facilities to be able to accommodate. I want to save them. I want to put more money back into the pockets of the poor parents. But for me to be able to do that, I must make sure that I have a product that I advertise. So I'm advertising that a level of instruction will be at the highest possible level. I'm advertising that there will be teacher in the classroom every day. I'm advertising that teachers will be in class on time, and there will be chalk. There will be everything the teacher needs to teach. And so I have to go in the field to be able to see those things and make sure that they are there. Look, I wear sneakers. I wear sneakers.
Yeah, go ahead, Professor Mike. You haven't.
Lately, I come to school with my dress shoes. I come to work with my dress shoes and my sneakers. I can wear the dress shoes where I need to wear it. I put my sneakers on to be able to visit my schools, get in the classroom, get in the playground with the kids, and get to know what's happening there. Because that's what I choose to do. I choose to come here and fight for them. I choose to come here to make sure that they have a decent quality education. So it doesn't require. I mean, and that demands that I must be humble. That depends. I must come down to them. That demands that I am everywhere, making sure, or most places, making sure that the things that we say that we're going to do are done.
Are you putting your job at risk?
No, I think I have an excellent relationship with the students, the teachers, the parents, the communities, the stakeholders. This is what they said to me that they have always advocated for, and they are grateful and thankful to the president for our preferment, and they look forward to even seeing us do more. And that's what I remain committed to doing. But let me say this to you: if fighting for children will put my job at risk, then so be it.
So be it. What I mean.
So look, it means that I'm not threatened by anyone, anybody, as long as I know that I'm doing the right thing. I'm fighting to make sure that our education system is the best possible one. Then I'm fine.
Okay, let me ask you this question, Professor. Maybe it might be insane. If you want to answer it, that's fine. Have you had a chance to sit with the President of the Republic of Liberia so that you can present in details comprehensively the challenge faced the Moravia Consolidated School System, in that he get a complete picture of what is happening? Have you had a chance to, since the appointment, to sit with the President?
No, because I opted not to do so. I opted first to get on the grounds to work.
But I just want to come in a little bit, Prof. Don't you think you had distancing yourself from the president? It won't be good for you, because many officials in this country will love to be closer to the president in gain favor with the president. By you now opting to see him, not able to see him, don't you think you are not doing well?
No, I didn't think. I mean, I've been in proximity with the president. I've been going to the president to discuss MCSS. You understand that the structure of our educational system is that our boss is the Minister of Education. Even though we're autonomous, we report to the Minister of Education. The Minister of Education and I have a very excellent relationship, and we speak on a frequent basis. The president and myself, we have so many hours and times together. That's not a rush. He called me here to do a job. He trusts my ability to perform that job. And that's what I have to do. I must justify the confidence he has reposed in me. That means I must stay at the MCSS from 8 to 6, 8 to 7, doing what he wanted me to do. And that's what I'm doing. So I don't see it as not distancing myself from the president. No, I will never distance myself from the president. He's my idol. He's my leader. He's the one who I look up to in this country. And I'm so proud to be someone who was appointed by him. So I have that very great respect for him. And it's always an honor to be in his presence.
Okay, well, we are in conversation with Professor RCC Zawolo, is the superintendent of the Monrovia Consolidated School System in Liberia. Let's take a quick commercial break, Professor, to get a glass of water, and we will be right back.
Thank you.
I'm Isaac Zawolo. I am an instructor here at the Arlington Career Center. I'm an instructor of mathematics. Mostly I teach the dual enrollment math classes for the Arlington Career Center. I've been here in Arlington for about 16 years. I originally come from Liberia, a small country on the west coast of Africa. It was established by free slaves from the United States. In Liberia, I'm involved with a series of educational projects. I own 2 schools, an elementary school in the capital city, Monrovia, and a secondary school about 40 kilometers outside of Monrovia in a little town where I grew up called Kakata. Well, the secondary school is called Giddings Polytechnic Academy. It's located about 40 kilometers outside of Monrovia.
Now, what makes Giddings Polytechnic Academy to be the best school is that at the Giddings Polytechnic Academy, we are introduced to electives such as drafting, nursing, business, journalism and creative writing, and agriculture. That's not all. We are also having a free access to the internet, and we are also introduced to ICT, that is the information communication technology.
The school is changing lives. Our parents are coming to the school and they are telling us, one, our teachers are consistently in class. Our students, the school is fenced, so our students remain on campus for the most of the day. The level of instruction, I've been told, is at the highest possible level for Liberia. In fact, it is projected that our enrollment will increase from 230 to about 500 for the next academic year. We are seeking help when it comes to technology, as I indicated. Any kind of resources that will help students to do better, textbooks, use textbooks, anything that will help ease the situation of our students. Anything will be appreciated. No, I look forward to seeing a relationship being built between the school in Liberia and our community here in Arlington. I consider Arlington my second home, and so I would want to see my 2 homes connecting.
I want to see my 2 homes connecting. You own 2 schools in Liberia, Professor, prior to your appointment and all of that. Let me ask this question here. Are those schools under the belt of MCSS?
No, they are not under the belt of MCSS. But even if they were under the belt of MCSS, understand, my position as superintendent of MCSS places me in a position to operate and not regulate. Some people talk about conflict of interest. So it's so good that you brought this question. Even if those schools were in the belt of MCSS, as long as I'm not regulating, I'm operating, there's no conflict of interest. But no, the schools are not within the territorial confines of the MCSS.
Do you intend to put them under the confines of MCSS in the future?
No, but they can. You see, the MCSS charter doesn't extend as far as it doesn't extend that far. No, so it's not possible.
What's about putting it on the MOE? Or it's a private school?
Why would I put a private school on the MOE? Yeah, why would I put a private school on the MOE?
And the reason we are asking, the reason we are asking these questions. Yeah, are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? Okay, just bear with us. The internet system in the country.
Yeah.
Are you hearing me? Okay,
His
let me
net
get.
is cracking a little bit. Uh,
Are you there now?
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. No, I said the reason we're asking all of these questions, there are a lot of people in high profile positions, they own schools, and there seems to be some sort of a conflict, or there seems to be some sort of compromise in dealing or handling certain issues. I listened to our sister networks, Spont TV, I believe, one of the deputy ministers, and that became some sort of controversial, if you will, in my own interpretation. I don't know how it looks like, but it's are these things, they all somehow has an impact on the educational system. They have their school, and these schools they are exception to that, and then these public school they've been seen like been treated at a low level.
No, my public schools, MCSS schools are not treated at low level, by the way. I put more into MCSS than I put into any other thing I do. And the evidence is there. The students, the teachers, the administrator at MCSS will tell you that I am the first, most of the time, one of the first to get here, and obviously the last staff to leave on a daily basis. Okay? That's very clear. I
Is it
reported to work
because
today. Do you know what time I got to work
is it
today, by the way? Is it because what?
is it because you are just coming to this
I don't know.
position?
I'm not getting
This is
Mark
why
a question.
I'm asking, Prof. Is it because you are just getting a position? This is why you want to go at it to do some of your work.
No, no, no. There's a lot of work to do as a leader as a superintendent of a school. You're looking for you're making future projections. You're planning programs and policies. You're looking for partners. You got to review data and all of those things. 8 hours a day is not going to cut it. Do all those things. You need about 10 to 12 hours in a day to do it, and then you need Saturday and sometimes Sundays also. This week that we are in, I also work on Sunday. I work on Saturday and I work on Saturday the last week, and I also work on Sunday for this week. And for this weekend, I will also be working tomorrow. And I think I might possibly be working on Sunday. So it's because I have a lot of work to do. I have several proposals. I'm interested in digitizing all of my schools. I just spoke with a potential donor who wants me to submit a project proposal to get some more technology. I'm not going to be able to do that by coming in here, addressing all the different issues, and then still be able to sit down and write a decent proposal. So no, it's not because I'm just coming to position. If I want to run an efficient system, it requires that I do overtime, and that's something I enjoy doing. I'm used to it.
So
I'm a
let
hard
me
worker.
ask you here. Yeah, I want to digitize this system, which is good. The internet service, the internet system is challenged. Students within the MCSL colors, you say they are family, if not all, with low income. Students doing assignment, you have to put data on their phone and all of that. And now we saw the last budget, the amount allotted for MCSS school system. How is your administration dealing with this situation, with this system of, you know, giving assignment and sometimes the guy, I remember in Tadman had a sometimes walk from Buse, how they call bypass going, and sometimes you going home because you're wearing that maroon and white. The connotations of Tadman High, every Tadman High student, they are bad students, which of course that was not the case. There are some bad ones. And you are walk, you don't even have the recess, but then they have to buy data to do assignment. Is there any other method you are trying to figure a way in which some of these things can be addressed, Professor?
Yeah, yes, of course. One of the things we are trying to do here is one of the points on my 5 point strategic goals is corporate school partnership. So we've already started to engage Lone Star, Orange, and shortly we also have a arrangement already with Telco. So we are trying to reach up to these people to be able they do in other countries to be able to design and run in a way such that when the students are on like learning websites, YouTube, watching educational videos or other learning platforms, that it should not go against the data plan. So we are working on all of those things. And I want to say, in fact, the telco also, I think, provided some level of free internet
So
service.
how you gonna monitor that? And not to interrupt you,
Well,
but how you will be in a specific area to do those things?
They have algorithm to, not me, the
Mhm.
telco and Orange and Lone Star can run the algorithm to set it up. Whatever you're doing there, they know what you are doing. They know what time you are spending on YouTube, what time you are spending on Facebook. So the system can run the algorithm that will be able to determine when the students are on this particular place or when they're not on that place. So when they are there, it will not count against the data. And then when they go to other places, they begin to count. So that's something that is easy to doable. It's been done in other countries.
Okay. MCSS, the foundation of MCSS, you know, from out here to California area. Have you had an opportunity to have a conversation with these people to see if they can come in again and revitalize and help the MCSS school system? Have you reached out to them?
Yeah, we have an ambassador. We have a Google ambassador in the California area. She's working on that. I spoke with her a couple of days ago. She's been having some challenges, but she's working on that, to facilitate my visit to them in the very soon future.
What about those of us in the diaspora and more or less direct beneficiary of the Morovia Consolidated School System? How can we or how can those people be incorporated in terms of forming, being part and also to make an impact within the Morovia Consolidated School System? Any plan?
Yeah, definitely. We've been engaged with some of the different alumni associations. In fact, the Morovia Central High Alumni Association, a good number of them for the diaspora. They were in my office the other day. We had a discussion, the possibility of reopening Morovia Central High. I had a discussion with Imon Stali, the president of the William V. Tottenham High School Alumni Association. We should have had a meeting, I think, on the 31st of January. That did not materialize. And then since then, I've been extremely busy. I plan to call him, my brother, call him so that we can plan that meeting. We plan to have a Zoom conference where I was going to be able to address not just the Tottenham High Alumni Association, but all former students of MCSS schools in the diaspora. So we're going to still plan that. Maybe that will be done in the next few weeks, but we're going to still plan that so that we can be engaged. But we are engaged in the diaspora MCSS communities. And by the way, within the next couple of days, we'll be launching a GoFundMe for MCSS. We'll be launching a
GoFundMe. For what will you want to? Why?
To raise funds, to be able to do certain things we want to do in MCSS. Let me appraise the public of some of our plans for next school year. Very ambitious plan. We've already instructed the principal at the Boswan High School to take all the necessary steps so that Boswan, beginning 2022-2023, will become a junior and senior high school. So we are adding grade 10 to the Boswan High School to ease the pressure that is being placed on D12, running classes of about 80 to 90 students in it. So we're elevating Boswan. We've also determined that between 12th Street and Pinsville Joba, where you have the PCS elementary school on that road, there's not any public high school. And that area is a densely populated area. My vision, my goal, is to find the money to give to the people of Cinco Oro and adjacent part a public high school starting 2022-2023. I need the support of Liberians all over. I need the graduates, former students of the MCSS schools to help us fulfill that, to make sure that those children on the Oro that are dropping from school once they complete the 9th grade to stay in school and get their education. Additionally, we are trying to make sure that at every elementary school, we have an early childhood education center. And we have a huge number of overage students in our school. I want to end that. So here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be engaging in Jehovah Witness style campaign to get school kids into school as early as possible. I've told my principals, you cannot have a school with 137 students, 200 and some more students, when the facilities can take 400. So we want to go into the communities and identify every kid who's reached the school age to be in an early childhood development center.
The resources aspect, Professor, the resources aspect.
That's what I want to.
Parents want to send their children to school, but probably they just do not have the money. will you
Which
be
money?
in a
Which
position
money are you talking about? What money are you talking about?
together in school?
We will make sure we are working hard to make sure that schools are totally free.
Free.
We are for transforming the educational landscape in this country. It's not a joke. Yes, some of the things I'm talking about will look aspirational, they will look too ambitious, but that's who I am. I aim for the sky. You know, that's what I aim for. And that's what I want to do. I want to make sure we have an early childhood development center in every elementary school. And then our principals will go into the communities and recruit those kids so that they can start school as early as possible. That's what we're going to do. And that's something we are committed to doing. So we need support. And that's why we're launching this GoFundMe campaign to help us to be able to raise the needed funds to be able to implement all of the things that we want to do for the children of Liberia. And I hope your station and other stations will be able to, support our initiative.
I mean, LPR has always been in the vanguard as long as a national cause and the characters and those that are involved. Believe me or not,
Yeah.
we always open our doors with our
Yes.
the vocational aspect. I was in Wallen via Stratman High School. We have electricity, we have mechanics, electronics, different vocational. Those are things that help to also bring independence to the young generation. The youth of the country right now, there should be some sort of a contingency plan that they don't have to get a job before they can survive. That somebody can call on them, hey, I need to do some plumbing work. Hey, I need to do electrical work. Your administration, are you working on that
So,
to strengthen the vocational aspect?
Of course, beginning 2022-2023, every high school of the MCSS will be offering at least 4 vocational and technical education classes to our students. My goal is by 2028, we have fully functioning vocational technical education programs in all of our high schools, and we have introductory programs in our junior high schools. So those are some of the things we are doing. We've already instructed the principals to begin to identify the teachers who will be offering those courses. So I want to make sure that the opportunities available to the students at William V.S. Tottenham High School will be available to the students at Boswen, soon to be Boswen High School. It should be available to the student at Detour High School, to the student at hopefully Monrovia Central High School, to the student at Pipeline Junior and Senior High School, to the student at GW Gibson High School, so that it will also tie in with my other program, teach where you live and school where you live. So we're beginning to look at the data, identify
What is the
our students.
rationale? Teach where you live, school where you live. What's the rationale beyond that?
Save costs for the teachers, make reduce the issue of absenteeism and tardiness. So those are part of it, and then so that they be more effective in the performance of their duties. On the student end, again, we want to save costs, want them to remain in their communities so that they can learn together with members of their communities, so that they can be able to work for the development of their communities, which include the schools, which include the playground and other aspects of the community. So we want to begin to build this sense of community within the children. So when they live in school in the same locality, that can help them to build that sense of community, and then can prepare them and train them to be able to be givers and supporters of development initiatives within their communities. That's what drives that vision.
You talk something, let me just see so we can expand. I managed to sneak within the office. Moreover, considered it a school system. I do it purposely not to reach you, and I get a lot of friends there. And this room here, they said there was a resource computer, and you were talking about what is the essence of having a resource center?
So we're going to be training. We'll be using the people doing work time. Not every staff member here has a computer, so they can go down there and get work done on the computer. Then we're also going to have at least 2 hours every day where we do training for people from the caretaker, the custodians, to the superintendent, different types of training. I want even the mechanic, the caretakers, the painters to have exposure to technology. And then also principals and other instructional, other staff from the other schools will also come here from time to time to do professional development. That's why we developed this resource room.
This seems to be overwhelming. Where do you want to see MCSS in your 1 year anniversary as superintendent? If the president still enjoys the confidence of Professor Asese Labozalo, where do you want to see MCSS school system to be?
Drove of students, drove of parents bringing their kids to MCSS school, running away from the private schools, and saying now our country has a public school system that we can be proud of. That's what I would love to see at the 1 year anniversary. I want to see our number increase from 16,000 to about 40,000 students. If need be, we'll find the resources to expand and build the facilities to be able to accommodate all 40,000 students. We want to empower more parents. We want to put more money into their pocket so they can save the money they are paying to private schools to purchase their land, begin to build their own homes, and to become, to become owners of their destiny. That's what we are hoping for. That's what we are doing all of these things for.
You were talking about Parents Teachers Association meeting, and good you brought that out because over the weekend I almost went off. My daughter is at St. Mary's High School. Monday, in less than 12 hours, notification came from the schools, the one parents for PTA meeting, which is not a bad time, but the timing. And the hook was on it that, okay, every parent that doesn't show up, they will be fined $200. That is absurd. That is ridiculous. Schools is not a court that if parent doesn't show up Wednesday, traditionally, I know things has changed, but maybe Friday, weekend, or Sunday, or reasonable time, you can send that notice in less than 12 hours, and you're telling people that if they don't show up, they're going to pay $200 Liberian dollars. So if you're having about 7,000 people got to go out there. Now, are these information getting to schools authority in as much they are private institution, but this institution must also be monitored?
Yeah,
Do you guys, MCSS, do you find your parents too if they don't show up?
No, but that's a ministry education issue. That's not my issue. We do not find our parents. But by the way, let me tell you how we operate our schools when it comes to the parents. Just yesterday, I was at the old Matari area, and I went to resolve a conflict involving the school and the community. By the time I left that site, the community people and the school people were hugging each other and having fun. They were now friends. And on Monday, they'll be coming to my office for us to consummate the deed, drink soft drink together. So you have school and community working together for the youth of Liberia. We get into the communities. 2 weeks ago, I was in the D12 communities. I was visiting with parents and community residents. 3 days ago, I was taking a tour of 12th Street, talking to the vendors who sell along the William V.S. Tottenham High School fence. And there's a group of guys who have a pool table. They play pool. I went there and played pool with them. They are my neighbors, and the neighbors of William V.S. Tottenham High School. So I have to know that they have to.
What are you playing pool with them? There's something you are targeting. What are you looking for?
So I want to know them. People told me that those guys were the ones who were selling drugs to my students. So I wanted to go and find out who they were, and so that we can begin having discussion on the effects of drugs. And by the end of the day, we had a commitment. We are planning to hold series of meetings with them still. And no, Soup will never do that to you. In fact, numbers were exchanged. We've been having discussions. They've been calling me. They are inviting me for a pool game. We'll go over there. We'll play the pool game. I'll provide a trophy, and then we'll begin to build a sense of community and relationship. I've told the people that I don't own William V.S. Tottenham High School. The community owns the school, and the community has an obligation to protect the school. And so that's what we are doing. So we solve problems here. We engage communities. We come together with the parents to find common grounds. We do not penalize people. We're not punitive in our ways we do things. We're not judgmental. We understand that people have different schedules, and from time to time, this family might come to school, another family may not come to school. But even besides that, let me tell you something. There are some parents who will never go to their students' PTA meeting. And so I've instructed the PTAs to identify parents. They identify students whose parents do not come to those meetings ever, and to see how we can get the voices of those students reflected in the decisions of the PTA. That was strange to them. I said, but I cannot ignore the voices of those students just because their parents are not in a position to attend the meeting. Their voices must be heard. So those are some of the different things we are doing. We're incorporating everybody.
How long the question is, how long can Professor Zawolo go with this?
As long as I'm the superintendent of MCSS.
It's not an interim basis.
Are you talking about energy level?
Well,
every day I got
that's another.
every day I get energy level. Every day I get energy level. I'm married to a beautiful Mandingo princess. She gives me energy every day. You know, that's the beauty of marrying a Mandingo woman. So your energy keeps going. You never lose energy. You see, you just look here at me, my man.
Very
Okay.
interesting, Prof.
All right. So I know you are a basic guy. You are a professor. You are also a classroom teacher and all of that here. Uh, do you intend to kind of open up to see how you can also get your teachers to get involved? The little guy used to this. Yeah, are you looking at some point in time to expand this conversation with this about this MCSS whole system?
Well, yeah, you know what I would do? You know what I would suggest to you? Maybe next week also, let's do it with my students first. Let me bring the MCSS Student Union on board and let's have a
Okay.
conversation. And then next time we can bring the Teachers Association, and then next time we can bring ordinary teachers. I'm sure they'll be glad to participate.
Okay, yeah, I think we need to do that. And that's what I say. I say, you know what? We need to take this thing out of politicians and just go outside to ordinary librarians to see what they are, because we have been doing this and it has not been working. So we need to give people the chance to make their voices heard. So I know time, yeah, it's still Friday, it's still working time. We understand that. I will be wrapping up. We hope to do this routinely so that we know, and hopefully we'll be bringing some of the teachers and
Yeah.
students to hear from them as well. Mike, do you have a question there? Mike, we're not hearing you.
So, yes,
Mike,
Prof. Hello.
yeah,
Yeah,
go
well,
Are
ahead.
you getting? Are you hearing me now?
Yes.
Yes. So I wanted to. Recently, Prof, you embarked on a MCSS Homecoming Day. Homecoming. So far, what have been the achievements with that process? What was it intended? I don't know what Alfonso has already asked this question.
so the MCSS Homecoming had uh, several targeted purposes. One, rebranded. I wanted to let the people of Monrovia, yeah, the people of Liberia, understand that the MCSS is here, is vibrant, it's a fine school system, and it's a home to wonderful teachers, hardworking administrator, and well-engaged students. That's the first part about it. The second part about it was to raise, and no, the second part about it was to showcase the talents of our students. The other part about it was to raise 50 million Liberian dollars to be able to attend to some of the pressing projects we want to complete within the MCSS. Now, how far are we with that? We are working hard on it. We got jingles out there being played. My staff is working assiduously on it. They are going from door to door, house to house, carrying letters and the rest of it. So we are working hard on it. I will maybe you are a no, I didn't teach at St. James. It was my I was in Ghana neighbor. I didn't teach at St. James. It may have been one of my younger brothers. Somebody asking the question, but I was in Ghana in 1996. And for a short time, I used to own a computer school there. Maybe if you can remember. But anyway, let me go back to this. The second thing about the other thing is to raise 50 million Liberian dollars, and what you see, LPR is truly my home. So LPR is going to be the one to provide us breaking news. We are being constrained to move the homecoming to the weekend of April 21st to the 23rd, and I'll tell you why. We've booked the ministerial complex, and then certainly Professor Sawyer, our former leader, passed away. So the ministerial complex is now being used for the repast for Professor Sawyer, Dr. Sawyer, our former president. We decided that we will move to the Moravia City Hall. We also booked the Moravia City Hall, but now they're also saying that the repast for Dr. Sawyer will also extend to the Moravia City Hall. So they're going to be having it in several different locations. And then the MCSS also being a respecter of public servants has decided that in the wake of all of these, MCSS should also be a part of the funeral, activities of Dr. Sawyer. So we've moved our program reluctantly, but also necessarily remove our program to April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. It just happened. It happened. We just made that decision in a senior staff meeting about an hour ago.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Okay. Our colleague, this is Sam from CBD who wants to come in a little bit. Joseph, go ahead. Just mute your computer volume, Joseph.
Okay, Professor, thank you so much. I've been following some of the activities in Liberia, especially your ZES transformation. There are a lot of things involved, particularly in Liberia. The issue of putting your plan on the paper, making it strategic on the paper where people will follow. That would be your
Sam,
guiding
Sam, just unmute yourself. Just unmute it.
principle. Already. That could be your guiding principle to drive you through all of what you want to do. I just want to know, I don't know whether you have gone through that question. I just want to know exactly whether you have set up a strategic direction for which you will be traveling. And if so, why is your own assessment of the MCSS school system? Are there gaps? If there are gaps, how are you going to fill in those gaps to ensure that you have a more vibrant approach in what you do?
Yeah. Well, look. Yeah, we have a plan on paper. We call it the roadmap. MCS is the roadmap to building great schools by our actions. The plan lays out our vision and mission. It talks about our core values, and it talks about what we met at the MCSS, what we have done, and where we expect the MCSS to be. The plan is already written, is documented, is available. In addition to that, from that plan, we also extracted different documents for presentation to different stakeholders. Yesterday, I was on call um, to appear before the John Education Secretary of the House and Senate. We did not, it did not take place. I think there were some challenges on their end, and so they did not do that. But I already had a special document to present to them. And I've also had the opportunity to make several presentations to different stakeholders all over. So we have documented plans on where we are today, where we were yesterday, and where we hope to be tomorrow. The question is, are there challenges? Yes, there are numerous challenges. And one thing I will not do is to castigate my predecessors or to castigate the people who I met here. They did a wonderful job. They did the best possible job that they could do. And now it's my responsibility to take it from where they left it and move forward. And that's what I'm going to be doing. And that's what the papers with rating will show and say.
Okay. Okay, Professor. Before we gotta let you go now, to do what you're supposed to do. I don't want to be like you go there, people in these people offices, and they spend time judging cases and attending to people. I don't know how long they can get away. How many teachers under the belt of MCSS, and what is the population of the students of MCSS now? Do you anything on record?
Yeah, the MCSS population, the last one I got is about 17,000. I have my own concerns about that number, but I'm digging deeper into that number. We have about 1,200 employees at MCSS. We also studying our employees. Right on my desk, see it. I have the entire employee listing. I study this thing every day. Sometimes employees come to me, I give them their names and tell them their salaries and the different things and stuff like that. They be amazed to find out that I know all of those things. So yeah, we are studying the data to make sure we have the accurate and correct information about MCSS. So we have about 1,200.
The current budget that you have now, I don't know it. Do you think it can upkeep the MCSS, and where you think the budget in order to run effective Morovia consolidated school system? Where do you want to see the budget be?
Oh, man, I thought the boss say your undercover citizen were like you coming, you want to marry us here. You guys not gonna question you probably so the guy can jump on me. I'm not telling you what our budget is. I'll take it. Wait, I'm just joking. On a serious note, the budget that was proposed was around about 4 million. I submitted a request for additional funding to the tune of about $1.1 million. So that budget should come up to be about $5.1 million. I believe that once I get in October, my next budget proposal will reach about $10 million. That's what I would need to run the MCSS. $10 million.
Around Helen Johnson, Stellington, I think MCSS was what, 7 million?
No. It never reached that.
It hasn't reached that level.
No. So I'll be proposing a more than 100% increase to the budget. And there'll be reasons for that. I will justify the reason because I want 40,000 students in our schools.
Okay.
If we have
Professor, we want to thank.
I just want to ask a question. I just want to ask the question whether he have done an assessment or inform the budget process.
Oh yes, sir.
Because you have to do an assessment to inform the 10 million you are proposing.
Yeah, I've done it. Yeah, I've done it. I'm a mathematician. That's one of the things I do. I live on data.
That is clearly justifiable.
It wouldn't
That
justify.
is clearly justifiable.
I can justify it in my sleep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, what Professor Asese Zawolo, Superintendent of the Moravia Consolidated School System, we want to thank you so much for your time this evening, afternoon, or evening your time. What will be your final word before we let you go?
It's a pleasure always with you guys. This is like home to me. I thank you for the opportunity. MCSS is going through a very exciting period, and it's a pleasure being their superintendent. I look forward to coming back here with my students, with my teachers, with my administrators. Let's build that relationship, so that, this platform, will have a place in the annals of history when we write a new history of MCSS. And that history has been written today. Too many exciting things are happening. MCSS students just, after a very long time, they just took second place in a big quizzing competition. And I told them, thank you. But next time I want the first place. And I told them we have to be first in everything. We've just consummated a major agreement with AMU University. I'm committing $10,000 to staff development every year annually to make sure my staff achieve the highest possible level of preparation. I'm committing, more resources to improving the system. So thank you very much for, having us on to articulate our plans and vision. And we look forward to having a very good working relationship with LPR. My station, my friends, my brothers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's Professor Asese Zawolo, Superintendent of the Moravia Consolidated School System. Thank you so much. Gentlemen, let's have a quick profile here of a conversation. Sayam is there in Studio 2 in Liberia. Mike Dan is also there. The Moravia Consolidated School System, MCSS, holds one of the big years or huge number of students within the Moravia enclave, if you would, to say. You are on ground. He's off the camera here now. What are you gathering since its inception as superintendent? What are the new developments? What is the talking point in the corners of relative to MCSS? Say, you always in and out there. Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Okay. As a development journalist, I've been following so much the zest that Professor Zawolo brings to the table. I think he has a zest, but there are so many challenges confronting the MCSS school system, mainly ranging from budgetary allotment, staff development, all of those. Those are challenges that need to be worked on. If those challenges are not worked on to actually succeed your dream within the MCSS school system is quite a difficult thing. But I think if he can fight, or if he can really make the case, like he said, he has been pushing $10 million United States budget to the national legislature, which is a very huge budget that could be debatable at the level of the legislature. And once he can justify to convince the legislature, then that could be a very good start for him, because the MCSS school system is a premier school system. Like in the past, has been one of the school systems that really put a challenge against private school. More people wanted to go to the MCSS school system because of the kind of quality of education that it provided at the time. So once Professor Zawolo can again turn the table, obviously you find out that the MCSS school system will again gain the kind of a quality of education it has provided in the past. So it left with him now to play the card and then be able to convince the legislature, because those are the guys that are on Capitol Hill, and they are actually sometimes hard to deal with in convincing, because there are a lot of national priorities on ground. You talk about health, you talk about the security, you also talk about agriculture.
What will you say? Education is a priority, but what I do agree with is the divisive politics on Capitol Hill. This sort of partisan-driven thing. They don't put national cause ahead. Uh, Unlikely yet, sometimes the Republican, the Democrat, based on what is put forward. But Liberia is all about name callings and that sort of divisive politics. I'm not from this party. I'm not from this here. So as the result, the decisions of those men and women, Capitol Hill, they punish our ordinary citizen for no reason, because okay, this is not one of my own, or we are not part of the ruling party, or the ruling party on the other hand, okay, we're not going to support this because the opposition going to gain favor. All of that, how can he effectively navigate through that process? What he needs to
Yeah,
do?
I mean, yeah. I mean, like you regularly said, that is a case. I mean, that is a very serious challenge at the level of the legislature, and even beyond that, the issue of personal interest and personal aggrandizement also override the issue of national interest. So all of those factors, when they are placed on the table, then of course, to just navigate your way through, you have to be a very strong intellectual and a very strong development practitioner to be able to convince the legislature on how they can be able to apportion or allot some of those money for what they intend doing for the national growth of our country, especially in the educational sector, like MCSS as one of those sectors. I mean, one of those components of the educational sector. So once he can put out a very strong argument and be able to defend those arguments, to navigate way through, like you said, personal interest, like you said, the issue of partisan interest and the issue of personal interest. All of those are factors that have to be navigated through. Because once you cannot navigate your way through, obviously there will be a little challenge for you to get what you want to get from at the level of the Capitol building. So the MCSS superintendent has a very big challenge ahead of him, unless he can put out a very good fight and be able to defend some of those issues that he thinks he can go to buy public sentiment. Because that is one of the issues in Liberia. People have to buy public sentiment, then they probably get involved with the issue before we can see this national decision can shift. So once you
Mike,
don't have those,
let me break in, Mike. Mike, are you there?
Yes, I'm here at the council. So like Steven was saying, I think. Let me unmute myself. Sorry, like Steven was saying, he's going to have some level of. Steven, can you unmute yourself?
I'm mute already. I don't know what happened.
Sorry.
Yeah, the audio, I'm getting the feedback there.
Saying you have to lower just lower your computer volume, mute your computer volume completely. Computer volume is now muted.
The volume, okay. I'm coming to. Please wait more. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see, Mike.
Okay. So sorry for that. Alfonso, are you hearing me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So saying, I think Prof had some key tax, especially taking into consideration the challenges that the MCSS has currently. The school system in time past, like I said one time, their budget was almost around $7 million in time. But as you speak, the budget was slashed to some level, and then he is saying that the system will need about $10 million to fully function. I think he has some level of tax that he really needs to be on feet in order to ensure that the guys on Capitol Hill can really get to the conclusion of what he really wants to do. because public sentiment, yes, like saying Pote is going to play some serious part here because you have to put them in the mood that yes, indeed, this education system, I mean, this particular school system is very important to the educational growth of our country. That is the only way I think the guys on Capitol Hill will take some serious interest into it because many of them will say, but why is it that why only the MCSS will call for X, Y, Z and no more money? It's too much and partisanship. Again, one easier way that Prof. Zawolo we're going to navigate, we're going to see is that taking into consideration that
Okay. Are you touching my address?
he is a partisan of the CDC. That's one good opportunity that Prof. Zawolo has in terms of navigating his way through because in like the former superintendent, he was not from the beginning he was not a partisan. So it was later on that he became it. I mean, he was incorporated through the past government, the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf led government. So again, it was a little bit challenging to him to implement some of his ways through. But unlike Prof. Zawolo, he was called to serve. So I think that's a leverage that he has as a partisan, somebody who was called to duty, unlike his predecessor, who was incorporated into the system through a different system. He will have some edge in navigating his ways through. But challenges at the MCSS are very much enormous that it needs a very much talented and skillful superintendent to ensure that things are done correctly at the MCSS. You,
Thought at the
sorry,
time.
you were
He said this can happen if government will put education first through a well-defined national education agenda with milestones for achievement. This will include public and private school system, and MCSS will be part. Say,
Of course, of course, of course. We need a well-defined national educational agenda, like Peter regularly said, because you cannot be driving a process that there is no agenda. Then
we're not getting Mike, you muted Say, we're not hearing Say, so you gotta get yeah. Say, go ahead.
okay, I just unmute myself.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, like Victor regularly said, Liberia need a well-defined national educational agenda because you cannot drive the educational sector of our country without an agenda that will actually undermine or that will impede the growth and development of the educational system of our country. So once you have an agenda, then you have a strategic direction for which you want to take the educational system. Of course, then you can start moving forward. So we have been saying for the MCSS superintendent to like I listen to him and like I see him. Obviously, he has the zest. He is very much intellectually inclined. He can navigate a way through, provided if he can defend what he tried to put forward to the national legislature. And one of the places you have to go is at the Ministry of Finance. Convince the Minister of Finance, sell to him exactly a product, what you want to do, how can that product help to transform and inform the proper agenda of the government. Then, of course, the Minister of Finance will also take that into consideration. He himself will want to market what you are telling him to the people because it will also boost his own morale as the Minister of Finance. Once you have a policy that will inform, that will be able to fit in the proper agenda of the government, mind you, the agenda of the government is the bigger agenda that needs to be implemented to the fullest so that international people can see it as a historic making event. So once you want to have a process that will fit into that agenda and make that agenda to work, obviously it could be the darling ball of the Prime Minister.
And
So
I
once you
have
forgot
followed
that,
Professor Zawolo. I have followed him for quite a long time. And I think his all his think, thoughts, and everything has been education assistant. Even when he was in the states, his community engagement and like I brought out the school. He left from here, prepared to go prepare teachers, students for why at his own volition without really demanding. What is key here is our people, national government as well, to also see reason for those who really have their country to work. Because little funny thing quick to kick in. Who was this guy coming here? Where he tries to be, or he wants to run ahead of his shadow. And you're going to see funny
surely.
ways talking here and there, biting. I mean, that's the challenge. That's the problem. And I tell you this, for the most part, I don't usually like to put my say on the lifeline for people. But I can remember about 4, 5, 6 years ago, I served as a commissioner of the Liberian community at the ULAT conducted an election, of which he took part in Maryland to Baltimore. He was a defeated candidate. Uh, Liberian people, we don't accept election result. The only result that is accepted unless you win. All right. So he lost the election. But guess what? Some of his folks were saying, oh, my man, we want to fire in protest, we want to do this. I believe after when we announced the result, he came out and said, I accept the result. And right there, he dissolved his campaign. And over, I think, 500 or a little up 1,000 that left from the campaign, he decided to turn it over to the incoming administration without raising a concern. That was amazing because that has not happened here. That has not happened here with the elections and all of the things. But all we see here, elections is always chaotic after elections, either protest. But for even some of his people, man, don't do that, don't do that. He said, you know what? Somebody must win. And it is time for us to rally around this person. I think it was Gisler. It was then former President Gisler. And that was the election that was held within his own backyard. And so people wanted to give a justification. How can this happen right in your own backyard? He said, well, maybe I didn't send my message that well, or maybe people who told me that they're going to vote for me, they never voted. So I cannot base on that without having any evidence because their representatives were there. We counted. The process was very transparent. We counted and vote. Everything was tallied, commensurate with the number of voters and everything. So what was the justification? What was the point to say he wanted to defy election result? But what was interesting and shocking was to take his whatever funds that left over after his campaign to give it immediately to the incoming administration and say, you know what, I'm on board, whatever you're willing to do. So there's track record. We keep track record of people. And that has been his argument all along. He has made his sedition. I never heard him talking about any other thing on this network when he was serving as a contributor, but all was education, education, education. So my hope, the same very government that he defended, they will also give the support. And there must be no batting because there are some decent guys who really up to getting something done. But guess what? There are other people who always want the favor of the executive, of the higher up. Oh, this guy here, the man who just come in, what he want to do, he doing this, he doing, and that's what killing our country. We need people who love that country, who have that country at heart, and who really wants to do the best for the country.
I think from the scenario you just presented suggests that he respect the tenets of democracy, and just beyond just respecting the tenets of democracy, he also respects the tenets of work of the system working. It's not about who is there, but allow the system work. So I think he has to tell his supporters that it is not about me, but we might have to have someone that will keep the system moving forward. So in the absence of Professor Zawolo, I think the system need to work. The only thing we need to do is to guide the process and then provide our support to the process to ensure that we can have the kind of a result we need to have in the future. I think that was exactly what he tried to push during that election. So if that can be replicated in his leadership style of the MCSS, that would be a very good leadership style to allow the system work and not to allow the people working the system. But you allow the system to work, and then you guide the system to see if the much needed result that you need to see, because the MCSS school system has been one of the much talked about school system in Liberia from the 80s. When we were coming up, we saw MCSS meet the challenge, all of those. Everyone wanted to go to MCSS school system. So once he can strive to bring back those values to the MCSS system, even though, like you rightly said, there will be a lot of challenges. There will be this barricade that will be put before him not to cross, because somebody want to see him as one who is an achiever. So they want to block him. But again, he has to fight. When you are in when you are in a public space, the only thing you don't do is that you don't fight to bring down people. You have to fight to make the system work and make the system more viable, make the system to be more considerable for the population that you're working for. So when he put into place all of those, like I said, the government now is working is working towards the realization of the purple agenda. That is the national agenda of the government, to ensure that education being one of those factors into the purple agenda, to work sufficiently efficiently to ensure that this government can have a mark and a legacy. Like Manasari said, taking the school system from mess now to the best. So that is a great challenge for him. That's a great challenge for him. But if he have the skills, and I think he have the skills from his presentation, from his approach, I think he have the system. I think he need to do much less talk and then push him most of the work behind the scene, and then talk behind the scene. Because when you start to get on the airways too much, obviously people will want to follow, people will want to bring you down. So although it's good to come in the air, I'm not saying that it shouldn't come, but
obviously it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen, but you got to be strategic. You got to be strategic, because meeting the finance minister, discussing because the finance minister is a product of the MCSS school system. So you can't say the finance minister cannot say to see the MCSS school system dying. So it left for him not to convince him behind the scene, encouraging him to also push the support, so that the 10 million he is pushing for, if not 10 million, 8 or 9 million can be put into the national budget, and that will also be at the credit of the finance minister.
Yeah. And this is where the frustration comes from, Jeremy. We're going to be wrapping up very shortly. Even those who want state power, the opposition, they have much bigger thing to do, because these are things they're supposed to be telling us. Their educational agenda, health, infrastructure. How much do they intend to invest into education to bring the schools up to standard? We are not hearing anything. It's not just about this man not doing this person corrupt, this person not doing. Okay, so if you want to take all of your day to talk about somebody's system that is not working, and you want that position, so what time do you have to tell me what you're going to be putting on the table? On the table. And that's why it's not happening. And we need to force them to change these directions of these politicians, because what they are doing, they are cleverly on purpose, trying to drive us in their direction. We have to redirect them. Okay, you want to be president, you want to be senator, you want to be this. What do you have? What's your educational agenda? How much do you intend to invest into education to bring it up to standard? How much do you intend to invest into agriculture, infrastructure? They are not telling us anything. It's insufficient to just tell us that the current system is not working. Yes, the current system is not working. There are challenges, there are issues, but you also need to tell us why you think you are best suited to make it work.
And Alfonso, we also the media also need to play a very pivotal role in all of those, because the media is the one that drives the agenda of everything that we talk about. That question should be asked. It's not just every day this politician is doing the opposition say this, opposition say no. But what are you bringing on the table? What narrative can you change? Those should be the question I'll be posing to those opposition politicians. What are the difference that you think you can change? What are the statistics you can give us that will make us understand that you're making a difference?
The proliferation of media.
We need to be asking.
Yeah, but it's challenging for those in the media institution. The proliferations of these talk show media outlets, which of course people have the right to do this. But guess what? They present their conversation, and the ordinary citizens also back these people conversation. If I support X, Y in this place, whether he does it the wrong way or the He does it the wrong way. I do not have the guts to say it. So it is a challenge. And instead of us taking a direction to play a informed, educative role so that the ordinary librarian will be able to make an informed decision, media are more or less, we have engaged in subliminal messages. We are more or less a propaganda type of these politicians. So as a result, the victim becomes the electors or the ordinary citizen because they see the politicians to be, they don't trust us, they don't believe us because we move in the directions of these politicians.
Exactly. That's just the truth. Because once the media does not set the agenda, then of course the population becomes so vulnerable to the kind of information that they should have. They will not have those information. So the population will just sit on the side and then just follow anything that comes to them. So except the media will set the pace and asking those hard questions, will not. The political landscape of our country will not move to another stage, because if we cannot set the pace and then ask those hard questions to those of the opposition and those of the ruling party, then of course we just leave the population to make it own decision, because some will be sitting way in can I say blood diarrhea. The person is not understanding even what is going on. So what happens if the candidate went there and say, I'll build the road, I'll do this? But how are you going to build the roads?
They don't, and,
But
okay,
those are the
the
questions
question,
we're
and
asking.
that's a critical question in the media, the how, when, and that is the thing. But
Exactly.
people don't ask,
Exactly.
people don't challenge their
I
supporters.
think, I
People
think,
they don't ask their support. Because if I come and tell you, say I want to build a road, what the heck am I getting money from? How am I going to do it? Is that going to fall from
Where
the
are you
sky?
going? Exactly. Exactly.
I think the media in Liberia has contributed immensely, making the public, the listeners, a very lazy set of people, because they only one way of giving out information. Either it is politically driven, it is not objective, or somebody interest, someone is pushing as a media practitioner. And as a result, the media has made the public very lazy in understanding issue just to
Well,
one side. Either
look,
it's positive or it's in favor of somebody or against somebody.
so, Mike, I think I have a different version of that. I mean, I will agree that the media have to deceive the public, but for somebody to make you lazy, you just
No,
naturally
I
lazy.
wasn't
Because
deceived. I said
if I just
lazy.
can't tell you something and you can't verify it, and you decide to run with it like a station without manager, you're doing it to yourself. So if I even say, hey, you must be able to question my authenticity. Where am I getting that information? But this whole privacy thing, my source, this whole thing is being blown up. Everybody now sources, and they can't even tell you exactly why it is. But every news is being broken. People love breaking news. They have created this political drama and all of that. Can you imagine we get less than what? 18 or 17
And
months to the election, and we can't even get a precise talking point of those who want to be leader of our country. We don't know their agenda. We don't know what they represent. We don't know what they are offering, or they are talking about change. What is the definition? What is the true context of change? What sort of change are they talking about? What are we going to change to? How many times have we not changed? So these are conversations we need to redirect and bring these people to their senses and tell us, yes, okay, you want to be president, you want to change. What are we changing from, and what are we changing to? How is this change be implemented? What sort of government do we have? We want to see. They need to start taking pragmatic measures, not abstract, concrete measures. I want to hear somebody telling me to say, okay, if I'm president, what the heck of all of these birthday, Joseph Jenkins Robert, this and that, and all of that? Why not we have, if they want to do, if we want to have these president celebrated, we must, maybe somebody might come out, look, I will put forward to the national legislature, we need to have one day. You know how many thousands of dollars that is being the government lose when there's a holiday? People need to start telling us specific. They need to start telling us
also one of the
specifically that
issues
that's what
that
we need to
is
hold them to.
is like I said, one of the issues that is affecting Liberian media is that most of the time, when there are issues that brought us on expert opinion, the media would not invite a particular media institution would not invite an expert to provide an opinion on that issue, because that man has a vast knowledge as to how that issue will work. So if you have the issue and those issues are not being dissected by an expert, obviously everybody calling just making an opinion on it. Obviously, you'll find out that we will not be able to gravitate from that stage to another stage. So unless we can take the approach like the BBC and other people do, to allow experts to explain on the issue. Take for example, we're going for election, we're talking about election process. We bring experts to come and dissect the election process of Liberia and dissect how past Lilo has run, how past Lilo has taken power from Liberia, and what have been their strategy in taking power, and how have those strategies worked in the interest of the Liberian people. So when you have an expert discussing all of those, then people start grabbing the concept, and then now they start making their own independent judgment and decision on those issues. But unless in Liberia, you find out that once there's an issue, we're going for election, open the land. Oh, tomorrow election, what do you feel? So what do you learn from
it's so funny. I see some other people, they ready to open on their podcast, open phone line and call. I don't know how they understand what is a pool, and 2, 3, 14 calls say, oh yeah, this man gonna win. Who have you talked to? Who are the demographic that you talk to? What was you conduct this pool based on specific thing that we talk to people because they told us XYZ, people who consider infrastructure, people who think health issue is matter. That's how pools are conducted on specific thing. And we're going to tell you, and their statistics going to come out. But unlike, I just open my phone line here, 4 or 5% call say Ellis Kumi, 2, 3%, 10% call say Joseph Boyka. So then Joseph Boyka. People crazy.
That's a funny
Then Joseph Boyka going to win, or Ellis Kumi going to win election, or George, we are going to be re-elected. So who are those people to talk to? Where did they go? And what specifically? People that go to these battleground states, you talk to people in Mosorado, you talk to people like in Bon County, in Lofa County, in Nima County. It is a very strategic, and you gather those information, those data system, based on what the people tell you. You get a sense to say, oh, this would probably be the direction. Not people sitting on phone, somebody, 1% or 2%, you create some sort of robocall and people call say this one, and they come and this person
one person calling 3 times on the radio.
It just doesn't make sense. So the media has helped to confuse the narrative and things that we should be talking about, how we should hold these politicians accountable. But they have turned to political satire, and we love drama. Liberians love drama, so we move in a sort of dramatic situation, and at the end of the day, the country becomes more or less hurried because of the behavior of all of us and how we take the conversation to be. Gentlemen, go ahead.
Before we just take leave, I just want to say this: the Liberian media, we don't assess ourselves in terms of feedback. How are we working? What impact are we making? What are the variants? So when we assess ourselves and then get feedback from the public, obviously you know whether the media is doing well or not. But in Liberia, we don't do it. We don't assess our own.
So quickly, you guys are in Liberia. 2023 is very consequential. It's very crucial. There will be 3 major elections, not just only the presidential. You're going to be having the two houses, the upper and the lower. People are going to be going. So it's going to be a crazy. Everybody going to be running helter-skelter. What could be a potential challenge for the media industry in Liberia in order to give the citizenry a clear sense of direction to be able to make an informed decision? What is the challenge? Part of that is poverty. People are suffering, people poor. So media industry or media practitioners, they are easy to compromise. They get story, they compromise the story for a little or nothing because they have to support. They are something, but what should we be watching out for comes this 2023, and that we must put on that national government for the good of the country. It doesn't matter. People, this under my party. People, the
Yeah,
party, I don't know what it means. This is my party. People, they don't even pay due. There's no membership. They don't do anything, but it's their party. And that's part of it, because these individuals who are head of these political institutions, they are the one making these huge investments. So ultimately, every other decision, they are the final boss staff. These people are there as a follower because they don't put in anything. You listen to our man yesterday, the vice president of Kenya is in the race, is challenging the equipment. I mean, should we say if you are vice
The
president,
US now.
if you are vice president, anything the president says, you agree with it? Come on. You're not a Santa Claus, you're not a ceremonial, it's not a ceremonial position as we take it to be. You are competent as the president. When the president is incapacitated, the vice president takes charge. So why should you sit there and everything the president says, you agree with the president? Even if it is wrong, and you say, "Oh no, okay," because the vice president is just what is that? So what happens if Mike Pence has agreed with Donald Trump? Yeah, that means election result will turn over, because that's what Donald Trump wanted. But Mike Pence said no. He knows his left from his right. He knows his constitutional duty, and he did what he did. What's the final word?
Yes, let me just come here a little bit Tim. I think there's a need for empowerment. Empowerment will have some positive impact on the media because, like Greta put it upon, so poverty is one thing that can drive people opinion not to be in a positive way. Saying you have to lead, saying you have to lead yourself.
They were getting a very terrible background. Okay, go ahead, gentlemen.
So
We gotta go.
okay, I think I'm okay now. So independent independent ballot or people who have some level of support now is about time that if they want for our democracy to flourish, is about time that they start empowering the media, those credible institutions like ours, for example, to ensure that quality information is provided to the public because money democracy is very expensive. The U.S. government, for example, has spent more than $3 billion just to strengthen our democracy since the outbreak of the war in this country. So it's about time that going for another transition, not transition, yeah, I mean, going to another election, it's a serious process that needs serious investment in the media because not
Okay.
only in election itself, but information dissemination around the election itself is very much important. But sometimes, uh, probably, let me say, government people, those who are funding, sometimes they don't look in the direction, they don't look at the process itself. But information surrounding the process is very much cardinal to be portrayed in a positive way or in a way that it will avoid chaos.
All
Okay,
right.
so let
Sam,
me
what's
just
your
come
what's
in
your
with
final?
that. I see it quite differently from my end because journalism itself is not about money making; it's about service to your country. And why the truth that you'll be providing service to your country equally, so you have to be capacitated. But if you follow around the world, I am an environmental journalist that I follow a lot of environmental issues around the world. And one of the issues that is not evolving is this issue of developing the media. But it just left for your own innovation to seek those grants from across the world. Let's for example, like Ukraine now, the war is there. They put a lot of grant for journalists who want to call the war or institution that want to call the war. I mean, the war in Ukraine. So as a journalist, once you apply, obviously, and your proposal is very strong enough to convincing enough to the people that are going to be awarded you. So one of the things we need to do as media institutions like LIBERIA is to follow those grant giving institutions around the world. The LIBERIA election is coming. There will be a lot of grant out, and they left with the media institution to follow all of those and then apply for those grants. And you can use those grants. Some of those grants are 20, 30,000 US dollars. And use those grants to empower your reporters to report on the issue with independency. unless in Liberia we are just glued to the issue of
I know, because when politicians say
we just want to be
you,
with the politician every day. There are one institution I know that can go for grain in Liberia is the Front Page Africa at time. Get those grain and then give it the reporter to do investigation. But here in Liberia, we get a media institution, but we are lazy set of people. We don't research. And once you don't research, you'll not get those information. Journalism now. It's not just centered around one group of people, one country. Journalism now is wider. You can apply for grant from any part of the world. One suit your situation, and your proposal is quite convincing. You can get that grant, use that grant to elevate some of the discussion in your country. So I think what we need to do now is to go after some of those. They are developed institutions that develop media institutions around the world. Go there. Look for, get in search of some of those institutions. Once you get them, when you get their addresses, you start to apply. Sometimes you achieve some of those. You achieve your application will be accepted at some of those institutions. But unless in Liberia, everyone want to follow the politician. So as a result, the politician take over the entire media landscape.
But the politicians,
they are want to call tell you that to put you in a vehicle and take you to a place. What will we put against that politician if it went wrong?
Yeah, the people.
So we have to think outside the box.
Yeah,
they are marching ground for media freedom. They are marching ground for different things. Once you can write a proposal, and then that proposal is very strong enough in convincing the donor will want to support.
So
and you can use your reporter and you can use in assuming you have something there for vehicle rental. And you don't have to follow behind politicians. You don't have to get politicians. You have to go use your vehicle rental form and then rent vehicle, send a report to go and report a story. Until we can start thinking outside of the box, the Liberian media will continue to cry that we are poor. Journalism now is not about just following the issue. Yeah, it's not just following the politician. It's about being innovative and using the innovation to make things happen in order to transform society. The grants are there because the people, they are grant for environmental reporting. They are grant for development reporting. They are grant for political reporting. They are grant for economic reporting. They are grant for institutions that you can apply for. Media institutions, you can apply for that, especially the private institution. You apply for those grants. And those grants can be given you, and you can utilize those grants to pay, to compensate your reporters to go outside of Monrovia and then do in-depth investigation of issue. If I think there are some issues that we are investigating, we have done a lot of proposals, even though some of the proposals will not be instant. But sometimes you don't just sit. You don't just something where a proposal is not strong enough, will not accept it.
Yeah.
We have to do that.
Because everything, Mr. Google now helps to get information.
100% rely on politicians. They put news, development grant, the new OSAP grant, apply for those grants, get those grants, and then there's a guy in Ghana that can always do that investigative reporting. Anas. The guy used the grant to do investigative reporting. And he gets all the equipment.
And once you get
it becomes a landmark investigation.
Yeah.
So unless we can take to those trends and then forget about running behind the politician, we'll continue to cry for that. Journalists in Liberia poor. Even the government worker, until you can improve yourself, you continue to cry that you poor.
All right. Okay, my man Joseph Sion, Mike Down in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. Our guest today been the Superintendent of the Monrovia Consolidated School System, Professor RCC Labo Zawolo. And this is what we say. I think we have to turn this we have to pivot this talking point. Because why? These politicians, these people have a hidden agenda. They want us to lose sight. So they will bring this sort of soundbite, non-substance conversation, but we have to change again. We need to hold them. They need to be held accountable. They need to tell us why they want to be senator, why they want to be representative. There are three branches of government. They are the first branch. How many of them now? That now they're going to be running, acting like Chinese people. Then now they're going to be running to their places and doing some pets project because they know 2023 is around. And our people are not even asking them questions. They hear somebody name today. Once they hear Alfonso so name, or maybe Alfonso sit on this network and talk now, so it means he can be representative or senator for Grand Gilead. That's not the case. He needs to be asked other the question as to how he intend, if elected as senator or representative, how he intend to get it done. If we can ask other the tough questions, believe me, politicians won't take off us. They won't take off a ride. They won't take off for granted, and they just think they can do anything and walk away. Folks, guys, we want to leave it here by God's willing. We're going to be back here again. Seyon, thank you for your expertise. Mike Dan as well, thank you for your expertise. And hopefully we will be back here as it becomes available. We need to call these guys. But you know, when you call them, they have their consultants, so they determine which network to go to, which network not to go to. They want to know which question they will be asked, which question not to be asked. They become judgmental. This guy, he's not one of us, but that's not going to deter us. We will keep. We are not here to entertain. Media is not an entertainment industry. It's not jail. We're not on how they call David Letterman or Jay Leno for people. No, people are in search of concrete news. They are in search of real information. So this sort of entertainment aspect that have been inserted into the Liberian media industry, we need to figure out a way. And just kind people bring all sort of fake news. They don't verify their information. And unfortunately, regrettably, we buy into that and we run with it without verifying. It's killing our country. All of these politicians, we need to ask them how, why, and let them tell us. Even if we are supporting them for the good of our country, we might ask them how. If you come and tell me you are a representative, you say you want to come build road, is that a job to build road? Is that a job to have a rehabilitation center? Then where are the institutions? Where are the functionaries? There are other functionaries of government. You can put a piece of legislation. You can have a conversation. When last Abraham Darros Delon, Sir Joseph, when Akaras Gray, Nyombli Kanga, when last they ever said for them to say, let's have a national conversation about the future of our country? It's all about by-batting, blame game. You can't do this, you can't do that. And these are the people. It has to come from them. This, whatever we're talking here, they have to also, they have to push. They will approve, and it becomes law. But if these people can't, for God's sake, like Friday, they can't even call one another to have a lunch, to have maybe morning breakfast, to talk about some of the priorities, some of the things that are affecting, and see whether there's a commonality, something that affecting Nima, Mosurado, Maryland, or all of these people, and see how they can share notes and put some sort of joint bill together. They can't do it. They can't sit. They are like a rat and mouse. When one coming, the other one going on the other end. And we expect to have change, or so what sort of change? So it's all about themselves and their party. And where are the institutions today? When they are no longer there, those institutions, because they are failing to strengthen this system, that is why the institution, that's why the system is broken. Where is the National Rehabilitation Center? They're talking about Zoko. All of them, that's what they're talking about. But where is the National Rehabilitation Center in Liberia? I don't see my Senator Jai. He doesn't have a rehabilitation center. If he has a foundation, there are other people in charge. You know what it takes to run a rehabilitation center? You need to have a clinician. You need to have a psychiatrist. You need to have counselors. It's not just about putting roof on somebody's bed, they go eat and they get and go by in the street. No. And that's why they have behavior specialists. There must be some sort of specific treatment plan. You prepare them when they leave so they can return. But if you just put them in a house and tell them what happens tomorrow when say you're not senator, can you keep up with that facility? Then what becomes the one that government is supposed to own and sustain? Can you continue to lobby? These are things that we need to be talking about. Unfortunately, we are not far-sighted. We are limited wherever our shadow stops. That's where our thinking stop. We don't go beyond our shadow. And for us here at LPR, we need to go beyond the borderline and start having these conversations. Those who will listen, they will listen. Those who will not listen, they can make whatever decisions and they will live with it. And that's what we need to do for the good of our country. Seon, I want to thank you so much for your expertise. And by God's willing, we're going to be back here. And all our viewers and listeners, thank you so much for sharing your Friday afternoon. It's 12:07 Eastern Standard Time, I believe, a little after 4 p.m. in the West African state of the Republic. And I want to say thank you so much. I really enjoyed my time hanging out with you. So we had a really, even though bereavement were there, but believe me or not, we had a really great fun where we share some crazy stuff. And I hope, you know, at some point in time, we'll have that sort of good time again. All of you guys are great people. The sacrifice that you are rendering, LPR volunteering, you're not on pay, you're not on salary, but you're still doing what you are doing. All of you guys, you, Mike, Emmanuel, Diana, and all of those other people that are make kind of commitment. This is what I call someone that is patriot. You get paid, you not get paid, you still do what you do. How many of us can do that? And I was just amazed at when the things that you guys doing. I said, but how do you guys manage it? I wonder if I'm here, I can go through that. And I'm still wondering and still think over. And this is where the commitment comes in, because you take your profession very seriously. I want to thank you so much, and let's keep hanging in there. We are not going to bow down to power. We're going to fight hard and build our own. Why? Because I do not want to sit here for somebody to tell me this is what you're supposed to say. When you take from these people, you will speak their language. You will speak their tone. I intend not to speak the language that is not good for me, simply because I show a left hand or a right hand in the clouds of darkness. You say I'm giving something, you think I'm going to come out here and tell you, say, yeah, I'm saying does it, you think I'm going to come out here? I'm not going to do it. If you want to give a donation, give it publicly, we accept it. That's what public radio does. NPR that is here every Monday in my state and other places, they have a community engagement where people contribute. And we also do that. So anybody who wants to give, they will give. But we will not, because of tough times, compromise our character. And then tomorrow, we give justifications of our actions. Thank you so much. All right, folks, that's how we're going to leave it here this afternoon. My man, Mike, and Seon, we want to thank you so much, and have a pleasant weekend. Please go home safe. I enjoyed Okeke Garden in the town, man. What? They can scrape people's car crazy, and when they scrape your car, you go to the cost you to go. Not a single day you go to town, you come back, you get some kind of new mark got to go on your car. Oh, Lord. Well, that they are part of our society, and, you know, I think there should be some sort of civil education. Gentlemen, thank you so much, and have a pleasant evening. Okay, folks, that's how we're going to leave it. Every good thing must come to an end.
While I'm getting crazy, I got a din, they think I'm getting crazy. But love is how you make it, brother, may not be hasty. Every time I sing, I'm on my knees, begging God for mercy. Thank you for your love, blessing, and forgiveness. You solve my problem, Lord, you took me from the wilderness. Now only you can feel my struggle when I'm very stressed. So my papa bless me, then my enemy, they get the best. No matter what the problem is, man, just let it go. Your delay is not your denial, everybody know. Just keep on trusting in Jehovah, he will give you more. He took me from the grass, he can take you from the rock and roll. Yeah.
He is Steve Wisdom Collins, the founder and executive director of the Youth Action for Transformation Network. He is a climate justice advocate. The activist expressed his frustration on beaches turning to dump site. He urged the government of Liberia to organize a national cleanup campaign on the various beaches in Liberia. The government should assign beaches security in order to stop the beach from turning into a dump site. Our climate is all we have. We need climate justice right now.
Welcome to the refurbished Kalando Hotel, located on the old road in Singa. Kalando Hotel is a home away from home. At Kalando Hotel, our rooms are affordable and provide you home comfort. With 24 hours electricity, our rooms are fully air-conditioned and we provide DSTV services plus free Wi-Fi available for customers to remain connected with the rest of the world. We have single, double and VIP rooms plus many more for your relaxation. Well, that's not all. We also have our bar with all kinds of wine, drinks, shisha and pool game to enjoy yourself. Kalando Hotel also has a modern swimming pool to cool your temperature while staying at the hotel. We have state-of-the-art halls for weddings, birthday parties, and conferences at affordable prices. Kalando Hotel, a home away from home. For more information, please call 0777511409 and 0886-511409. Kalando Hotel, a home away from home.
I got money, oh, you won't help me spend my money. Liberia matters to us, so a centimeter. You matter to us.
Hello and welcome to part 2 of our drama serial on Accelemeter Liberia is working to improve communities close to its operations. This is a story of a company that values its relationship with its communities and is investing a lot of money to make sure our communities are happy and strong.
My people, I'm sorry for keeping you waiting in my office for a while. I was attending another meeting with my boss man. So, why have you come to see me?
My daughter, our old people can say that if you have your farm across the river, you should not complain of your trousers but being wet. So, no need to be sorry for keeping us waiting. We need to know the truth about what all Accelemeter Liberia is doing for us in Liberia, so that the liars will not put us against the company for no good reason.
Exactly so. Knowing the truth alone is power. Now, you were telling us some of the good things this company is doing.
Yeah.
And will continue to do. But the radio time did not give you the chance to finish. This is why we have come again.
Thank you for coming.
Okay.
But before we can continue talking about what Accelemeter Liberia will do, can anyone tell us where we stopped the last time, please?
Let me try. You said that for the county meet 2021-2022, Accelemeter Liberia will give an amount of 15,000 American money to Nimba, Bon, and Grand Bassa counties for them to get ready go for the county meet. Each county will receive 5,000 American money.
Thank you. Now, today we will talk about what Accelemeter Liberia will do for you about your health business.
Good.
For 1 week, Accelemeter Liberia will carry health workers in Nima and Grand Bassa counties for the health workers to treat people in some communities for free.
My daughter, wow, a person can be eating with another person. Yet the person will say, let's eat. My daughter, please go on with your talk. We are enjoying you.
Go ahead.
As for Yekepa Nima County, Accelemeter Liberia says it's time to make the township bright in the night.
Oh.
Accelemeter Liberia will install.
Project My Voice presents to you Season 9.0 Grand Opening. Yes, a Season 9.0 Grand Opening. If you want to support your favorite gospel artists, make your way to Monrovia Christian Fellowship 9th Street Sinker this Sunday, March 6th to May 14th at 4 p.m. Admission fees for regular is $500 Liberian dollars, VIP $10 US, VVIP $20 US. For our SVP, you can call 0555-600-454, 0776 592-130. Yes, it's Project My Voice, the pathway to stardom.
All right, folks, that's how we're going to leave it for the rest of the day. We want to thank you so much for sharing your afternoon, your mornings, and evening, depending on your location to wherever you are. I want to thank you for your time and for being part of our company. Just in case you get a business here in the USA, in Liberia, or any parts of the world, you can reach us and we can advertise. If you have business, we can bring you on here. We don't just give only credence to politicians. No, it's entrepreneur. There's a program coming soon, Business Direct, from our guy based in Abidjan. They are Liberian doing extraordinary work. Businesses, young entrepreneur. We're going to be bringing them here. So it's not just all about politics here. If there's a specific issue that you want to discuss, let us know. You have a business, you are engaged in something concrete, something rewarding, and you want to tell the narrative, let us know. So you can reach us here at LPR New England Bureau 682-433-8802, or you can contact the folks in Liberia as well. It doesn't matter where you are. People are connected now. So just let us know and we'll give you the opportunity. We are not selective. We are just cautious of things that we talk and things that we're going to put out there within the public domain. That, of course, we are critical on that because we are here as a servant. So that's why we don't curse. We can disagree with people, but we have that safer conversations and we give you the chance to tell your side. We are not judgmental. It is not our job to tell people this is who you are. You would tell the folks exactly who you are and what you represent. So even if you are killed, we give you the opportunity to exonerate yourself. That's what new is all about. We want to make our new sharing proportional. I don't care how ugly, how bad it is, we'll still reach out to you. If you choose not to, that's a different thing. But we must all give people the fair share to get the outside of the story. There's always a second company, there's always a second version of story. And for those of us in the media industry, it is time for us to take our country serious. Because these politicians, this group they call advocates, nobody advocating for me. I've said this repeatedly over and over. I can talk for myself because those people, it is all about themselves. They will talk and talk. When they get there, nothing changed. It's like Black Dragon revenge the death of Bruce Lee. That's what they have been doing from time to time, and there's no indication that they're going to stop because they don't come and tell us exactly how they're going to do it. They come with anger, they come with bitterness, they come with resentment, they come with, it doesn't help us. Imagine 17, 18 months. We're talking about election, 3 major elections. And none of these people, you would never see them sitting on. And the disgusting thing about them, they are supporters, people who profess to support these people's agenda. They come on live. They also insult other people. They black other people because people express their views and their opinion. It's because they don't know what their people represent. They have no idea. They're just supporting them. If I disagree with your candidate, then this is where you have to deploy that method of persuasion that you will convince me why your candidate is the best. You will begin to talk about your candidate. But guess what? They will take 1 hour, 45 minutes of your time, talk about themselves, where they cook, where they wear, their level of education, who they are, their popularity, and all of that, and take 15 minutes of the person who they think is their choice. You confuse the citizen. You diffuse them. You confuse the whole world. It makes it difficult for them to make informed decisions. But yet and still, we clap and we cheer these people up. And we expect Liberia to be what? Ghana? To be the United States? To be the Kenya? No. Because we are unable to look in the eyes of these people that we support to tell them, yes, I support you, but this decision, this action that you are taking is wrong. Your language, your tone, your conversation is not in the interest of our country. You are unable to tell them. If you can't manage them now, when they get on the 8th floor of the executive mansion, believe me or not, you will not manage them. They're going to be riding those $80,000 car. The windshield all going to be dark. You're only going to see the tire rolling, and then you start crying, baby, cry again. We put them there. They not do this. They not do that. Yes, you are putting them there. You did not ask them. You choose to put them there because you never had a second thought. In as much you don't even like who is there, but you did not also ask the question why they even want to go there. So when they go there, just how you put them there, that's how they're going to treat you. If you can't make your vote to be value come just 2023, and you think you can just sell it overnight for squash car, for data, you're doing it to yourself. It's not just only to the country, because guess what? The victim will becomes the victor, and the victor will becomes the victim. So some of you who put them there where you're at today, those who didn't even labor for it, they are the one that enjoying the fruit. So if you are not farsighted, if you don't begin to ask these people critical questions, why they want to be senator, why they want to be representative, why they want to be president, how they're going to build a role, how they're going to make the educational system work, what is their infrastructure development agenda for the country, how much they intend to invest into infrastructure, education, health. If you not start asking that question, and you allow them to always kind of be making fun out of you, and you agree with them, you're doing it for yourself, not just only for us. The bad thing is because of your bad decision, all of us suffer and the nation suffers. And we'll start calling these people out. It's not you get these politicians to do what they are doing. And then you move from there. All of you, you're not support all of the parties, all of the candidates. When they get there, when they black you, then you can't. They want to support or do this. Yes, because you devalued yourself. They call you and you just wake up and say, yeah, I'm going to get my vote. You didn't even ask question. That's why they don't like some of you. Then you come with justification, know what I know. And that's the worst thing Englishmen to ever, you should have known better. You don't investigate. You don't ask questions. Just support people. And they turn around and give you back kick, then you can't complain. Don't complain because you didn't do your due diligence. You didn't value to yourself. And so that's how you were treated. Nothing wrong with you asking questions when somebody asking for your support. Nothing wrong with you asking how you're going to do it. I just need a little bit information as to how you're going to get this rule going. You're going to do this. Where are you getting the money from? Nothing wrong with that. That's not a disrespect. That's a safer conversation. But you want the CDC in that way, you're join to Liberty Party. In that way, you'll go to United UP. In that way, you'll go to where in Casena. In that way, you're to ANC. That's just sort of visual cycle from party to party. And these people don't even ask you why you're leaving this party. When something is not there, fix something is not good, you stay and fix it. You don't walk out, you don't walk away. You don't even pay dues. That's why the politicians, that's why they're doing what they are doing. Who's going to invest their own millions of dollars and you think they get power, they're not going to get their riches overnight. Oh, their money is not a coaster money. But when you pay, when you invest into something, you want to know where your investment is going. Just sit down, your supporter. You people are the problem. Political leader. You can't even ask your political leader a challenging question because they are simply your political leader. Don't you know you're making that person president? Are you making them president of the Republic of Liberia? You think that you alone president? So you made bad decisions, and those bad decisions are the one that we are living with. And you're walking away from your own shadow. The thing we don't know you. We know you. But this come 2023, the gloves will be off. You look at you're not even registered, but you're now all of these parties, you're to do it. You don't get position there, you walk out. think change is not an easy thing. Liberia is what we have. We must protect it. We must defend it. Where is NDPL today? Where is TWP? That's the result. When you have an institution centered around the individual, when that person is off and gone, it's dead and gone. This is why we have these proliferations of these political parties. They all want presidency. They're supposed to be putting out young, vibrant, progressive Liberians to go in both houses of government. They don't. They won't go on the A floor. They say because they want to be presiding over the resources of the country. You can be in the Senate. You can be in the House and hold the executive branch accountable. But the people you put there, without conscience, let me do this here. Because I'm getting a little bit pissed here now. The behavior of these people. Let me play this here. Let me see here what I'm able to get this here. Let me get this here. Okay. Let me play this here. I just came from Liberia, the southeastern side. For 6 or 5 counties, you have the pro tem and all of these people, but they are unable. Now comes this reading season that other segments of the country will be disconnected. But they are writing 50, 40, they apportion thousands of dollars to themselves. They don't have to put ashford or quota. All they need to do, they have these social development fund, these county fund, and manage some of these roads. Look at this road here.
This is State Village. One of the places that used to be really bad. It's still bad. Yeah, in here. And they should go little by little. Yeah. So this is Village. Managed to go. This is regular side Village. One of the bad places around the system reach. And we'll get that to show you some footage. And then little by little, this is Federal Highway, just past Papella Village, where some unit houses owned by the president.
That one is a good one, sir. There are more videos here. I will play it. That a road leading from after Secretary or whatever you get within you cross Sister River going to Grand Gita, pass on Maryland and all of those places. I didn't reach there, but I mean that road you see that as a road. That side is good. Get across Sister River. And these people from the southeast there, they can sit together. Whether you're from CDC, you're from NPP or whatever, you can sit together and convince your people, hey, there's a greater portions of Liberia on our other side of the world. That is a national security concern. What happens if there's an outbreak from Cote d'Ivoire? How are your citizens going to get through? And people come to you for vote, you just give it like that. You don't even go to the past history. That road is not a George Weah business. Why is this road like this? Why it is? Why? Even if there's no quota. Have a pleasant day.
Let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go, oh, let it go, let it go. Lord, help me let it go. Your people are suffering. lying in the hospital, suffering from all kinds of sickness, Lord. Lord, help them. That sickness that devouring you, I say, let it go. The barrenness, pack your load and go.
Everybody, everything's going bad. The situation getting worse. Everybody in the country getting mad. Dishonesty, poverty on the rise. The leaders them making empty promises. Promises with no damn strategies. Yeah, this is better days, money in your pockets. Oh, as a holidays only for the bosses. Yeah, there's a better days, money in your pockets. Holidays only for the bosses. Oh yo, hey, what about the children? What about the people? What about your families? What are they gonna eat though? Yeah, so safety everywhere to you. Yeah, so. They don't really care about you. They don't care my people, it's true. They don't want to see you break through. The whole country's getting confused. Corruption, no questions. The country's going in the wrong direction. Leaders high belly, many mentions. We don't know where the money come from. Attention, corruptions. Why nobody asks the question? They need to be in detention. 40 in our nation. Think about the children, think about the future. Whoa, think about the families, what they're gonna eat though. Yeah, so, oh, yeah, so. Something everywhere to you. Can't the other children know. Yeah, so. Can't you hear them crying? What do we help me oh.
Sam Archivant right here is a Liberian artist, one of the sensational DJ right here in the ocean state of Rhode Island. DJ Archivant, that's him right there. Corruption. Somebody needs to be in detention. Beating mansions, no accountability. And after this, whether they win it or re-elected or they're gone, the group that come, nobody going to ask questions. Nobody going to call them to ask their question. Why? Because they're going to be doing the same thing. So they're not going to make commitment as to what I will audit. They're not going to say this all because of political correctness. Because simply when they come, they will triple what has happened in the past. That's the sort of governance, that's the kind of thing that has been going on. How many of our politicians make commitment? If I elected, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to change X. I'm going to change Y. I'm going to change Z because it's not working. How many of them have said that? Nothing. They will not say it. So when I see this little chihuahua all over the place here screaming too, maybe they have come to the conclusion they want to be the Carrasco. They want to be the Jefferson Kochi as well, because they are not making commitment and they are not telling us anything as to how their honesty, their sincerity, the love for the country. And yet and still you want us to believe in. Have a pleasant Friday evening, and we're going to be back here at some point in time, and we're going to have a conversation going. Stay safe. The virus is still around as well. Let's pray for our nation. We got more videos, and we're going to be showing it here and there. And I think we are on an obligation to drive the narrative. We should not allow these politicians to have their way. And it is saddening for those of you that just only know what they call yes and no. You don't even ask. You are causing harm. You are becoming dangerous to our country, to the extent that you can't even question your own. It is unfair to the rest of the Liberian. Start asking, where is the rehabilitation center? How will this young generation be rehabilitated? Where are the vocational schools? What are the politicians, what are they telling us? Those who want to be and those who are there. You're not asking. You think the Zogos or people they call Zogos, you think you're going to go away overnight? That's not going to happen when there is no strategic plan as to how you're going to govern. Oh, you want to, when you get there, before you tell us,